Hi everybody. This video is especially for the people who are attending my online training. It's also for trainers generally, for everybody. But I thought I'd do it to answer some questions from people attending my online training, which is great actually. It's a huge learning in terms of the technicalities of Zoom and in particular editing videos, which is what I'm on a steep learning curve about at the moment. One of the questions I get from attendees is, can they know what I'm going to do in advance? Sorry, lots of face touching here, which is probably not a good example in these times. I work real time. That means that I take my leads from what to present, from what's happening, from the cues that I get from myself and from the people in the training. Same is true in coaching. I'm not following a numbered approach to coaching. I think this is one of the things that differentiates in a very big way pure NLP based coaching and some of the procedural based coaching where there is a structure to follow. When you're following the structure, there's always going to be a part of you that's attached to that structure. Whereas having the flexibility to work in the moment means that you're 100% there. You show up fully and be present with totally present with what's happening and responsive to what's happening in the moment. Not like, oh, okay, so now we do this with that, whatever that might be. So the way I prepare for sessions, so for example, if you take the online training that I'm doing at the moment, I am covering the, if you like, the syllabus, the contents for practitioner, which is basically what's covered in my book, NLP at Work. However, I'm not necessarily going to cover it in a fixed order. There are kind of logical things, some things it's logical to do before others. For example, I think it's logical to do things on filters, meta programs, before explaining what clean questions are, because clean questions are questions that don't have filters in them, for example. And there's other stuff about them as well. So there's a much bigger reason as well for not following an agenda. So it's not like, oh, on day 3 we're going to do this, day 4 we're going to do that. In fact, I can be quite a challenge for the people who are supporting me. They do fantastically, who will pop up images and slides for me because they'll say, well, which images and diagrams might you want, on a screen share today? And I go, well, I might want this, 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 or this. And I don't know until the time. And they're fantastic in the way that's Carolyn at the moment, who's doing that for me. Fantastic the way she's responded to that and been prepared with anything, and even anticipated what I might need. Now, there's a bigger reason for doing this, and that is to strengthen in my attendees a state of not knowing. So NLP is very much about being in a state of not knowing and being able to respond to what happens in the moment, which is great preparation for the way the world is today, especially. I mean, life is like that anyway. I would say more so today than at any other time. And so it's that getting used to, don't know what's going to happen next, and I'm ready for it, and I can handle it, whatever. So that's a bigger reason. So at the same time as teaching the elements of NLP, I'm teaching how to be real time, how to learn in the moment, how to be sensitive, fully sensitive to what's happening in yourself and others at that time. Now, another factor that influences the way that I decide is what's current for me. So I model, to use an NLP term, myself, and then I explore the structure of that. And NLP is very much about structure. And that's what I bring. So as an example, the other day, prior to doing the online session with the group, I found myself getting on the brink of getting, it's kind of stressed. Wasn't very stressed, but I could feel a tension in my chest. I could feel my breathing changing. I was concerned about something that had happened, and it was happening actually with my son. And I knew that that was distracting me. That was going to be, well, not just distracting, it was very present in my thinking. And so, first of all, I wanted to be able to manage my state, because being in any level of stressful state isn't helpful for anything. It's not a great place in which to make decisions, for example. And so I, if you like, managed myself. I did the inner work on myself, which I've learned over the years with NLP, to switch my state from this concerned, slightly stressful one, actually to one of, it was kind of amusement, but a very, very pleasant, a very amusement and ease kind of state that I would often have when I'm training or giving conferences. And I felt that was an appropriate state to have for the training I was going to give in the afternoon. I'm not dismissing what was happening with my son, but I wanted to be able to be in a state where whatever I did in relation to him and whatever I did in relation to the training program was good. So changing state was very current for me. It was like it was just, I was doing it, and I was unpacking what I was doing. And one of the elements that I was using was a process, a technique called anchoring. So I was anchoring the state that I have when I do a training session very well, where I do enjoy myself. It is humorous. I am at ease. And I was using that and the anchor that I have for that to change my state to that from the one that I'd had previously. So because sorry, somebody's message just came up and just distracted me, which is what happens. So because that was very current for me, like I'm very attached to it, I bring that to the group. Everything's going off now, sorry. Let me just switch that sound off. Because I'm associated with that. And by being really, so I kind of, it's electric for me in the sense that it's alive. It's not a session that I've done before that I'm going to do again. It's very current, and I'll use the current examples sometimes without the details of the content. And so by coming with something that's very current for me, I'm connected to it, I'm associated. There'll be a quality about what I'm saying that is different to if I'm doing something, let's say, that's scripted, which I typically would never do. And that's an invitation for the group to do the same. So I expect that by my example, they will engage with something that's really current for them. They're not just sitting listening to me, giving them the principles of a session, for example. And that's a very important aspect of my preparation, is that, and if you've listened to any of my other videos, you'll know that I take current events and take the learning from them. And that's a very, very familiar thing for me to do, because that's how I prepare for training sessions. That's how I prepare for writing. It's a process that I learned over years with my mentor, Jean Early. And I think, why is he asking me what's going on currently when we're heading for a training program? And then I realized, actually, this was the preparation. So if any of you who are on my program now or in the future find it so distracting that you can't learn, not to know what's going to come, then by all means ask, and I'll say, well, it's probably going to be this, it's likely to be that. And I would answer in that way. I might even have made quite a definite decision sometimes because of what's happened. I say, yes, seems like it's going to be this kind of area. So I'm not opposed to telling, but I wouldn't want to tell. I want people to learn this process of being able to embrace whatever happens. So those are my reasons. And thank you, those of you who've asked me that question, you know, over time, many times. And I also hope that what you've experienced in the way that I run my sessions, that they are alive. I show up 100%. My attention is with you completely, picking up clues, patterns within myself and within you as well. And so I've left you with a question at the end of all my videos. So my question to you would be, for example, if you were to take what's happening to you today, whatever it is, and unpack that, how could you use your experience today to impart that to other people? How is what's going on for you today an example that's absolutely worth sharing? Whether you do or not is another matter, but how can you use what's going on today?